Welcome to part 2 on Gym Bro Lessons. Today I'll be telling you what not to do. Starting with the most common theme, your classic 5-day bro split. Stay the fuck away from this. It's not optimal, and if you follow this routine, your gains will definitely be subpar. The reason why gym bros still do this is because they're unaware of the emerging science. They don't know that training each muscle group at least twice a week is the way to go. Instead, they copy what the most jacked guy at the gym is doing, who, of course, is probably taking a lot of drugs and has great genetics, and learned about the bro split from some other jack guy who did the same fucking thing. Or just copying from a bodybuilder who's obviously not in the same situation as you. So instead, I recommend you follow a full body, upper lower, or push-pull legs. Like, it makes no sense that Monday is International Chest Day. Why is that considered the day for training your chest? Shouldn't be that way, man. The setup itself is not feasible. You're in the gym 5 days a week for twice-a-week muscle protein synthesis. With an upper lower, you have perfect division, perfect recovery. You got your fucking Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday off. And you're getting each muscle group twice a week. Push-pull legs, a little bit less efficient in the sense that you're in the gym 6 days a week, but hey, at least you got the frequency down. And then your full body, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, fantastic. Or you can do it twice a week, or hell, you can even do a body part split that combines different muscle groups into one. So doing chest and back, for example. At least in this way, you're reducing the amount of times you have to go in the gym, but you're increasing the training frequency. I think you'll get much better gains with that approach. It's what a lot of natural bodybuilders are prescribing nowadays, if you actually go online, which unfortunately a lot of gym bros aren't doing. So that's the major lesson. I don't care if there are some individuals who got great success. I don't even care if they're lifetime naturals. It doesn't matter, because anyone can train their ass off for 5 years and eat a lot of food and obviously induce progressive overload, and they'll get jacked. They'll get strong. No question about it. But it doesn't mean that's the fastest route. It doesn't mean that it was the best way to go. So we need to be clear about that. And that'll lead me on to my second point, which all goes back to bro psyche and programming, which is the fact that a lot of these guys have terrible back and legs. Horrible imbalances. I see this all the time, where it's just kyphotic freaking posture. Poor rowing performance. Weak weighted pull-ups. It's all about chest and arms, bro. It's all about the beach muscles. Everybody has weak posterior chain. Everybody wants the aesthetics from the front while neglecting everything else, which increases your risk of getting injured, and it's just not optimal. Why would you want to do that? And the bro split further facilitates this, because you're only training your legs and back once a week. Whereas you do get a little bit of overlap when you're training your shoulders, and then you have the arm day. Obviously not optimal from a recovery standpoint, but think about it. Like, you're doing so much more work for the other muscle group. And then when you combine that with the ideology that it's all about the beach muscles, you just end up with this physique that looks off. I see these dudes walk in the gym where they have decent arm development. Okay, good for you. But then they turn around, they got no mass. They look like complete beginners. It's like, what the fuck? I've seen a lot of these dudes that can bench 225 for reps, but they're rowing 135 and they're really, really struggling. Actually, there was one guy in my gym who was doing 315 on the bench, 135 row, and he was struggling like crazy. That's an imbalance right there. Now, amazing bench. I got to give him credit. But what the fuck? You can't have a ratio that distorted, and the bro split will further facilitate this. So don't have that mindset that, oh, I just want to look good from the front. Fuck that. You're going to get hurt eventually through developing all kinds of imbalances, and it just doesn't look good. They think they look good, but they don't. Next, the concept of just pumping, getting blood into the muscle, and then obviously the junk volume that goes with it. A lot of these guys are not getting stronger because they think that you don't have to get stronger. This is bodybuilding, bro. Not understanding that as a natural, you will get bigger as you get stronger. Like, you have to induce progressive overload. That's how the fuck it works. If you grab a 20-pound dumbbell and you're curling that for years on end, I'm sorry, your biceps not going to get bigger. Unless you somehow slow down the tempo like crazy and upped your reps or just your sets. But still, that's progression. And the same thing for the bench. If you're just doing 135 all the time, pumping it out, you're not going to get a bigger pair of pecs. And your thighs and shoulders are going to fail to grow as well. It doesn't matter that you're feeling your muscles. It doesn't matter that you're sore the next day. It doesn't matter that you came out of the gym completely pumped up. If you're not getting stronger, if you're using the same weights all the time, your muscles will fail to grow. And that's what I see, where guys are still novices after years of training. Following the bro split, not emphasizing progressive overload, just going for the pump all the time. And then when they do try to go heavy, they usually ego lift at the same time. Then they get injured. Now they're blaming heavy lifting. Now they're blaming strength training. Like, that's another thing. The whole time detention concept, which I'm not knocking it, but the way a lot of guys employ it is not the way to go, in my opinion. Manual half reps to get more tension on the muscle. What the fuck? So they'll flare their elbows out completely to the side and they'll do this. on their shoulder press, right? Because if you touch your shoulders, you lost all the tension on the muscle. Now your delts aren't going to grow anymore. Or when you do the bench press, they're not going to touch your chest. They're going to leave a little bit of room. They're going to go right about here. I'm pumping, bro. I'm pumping my chest. I don't need to do full range of motion. Next thing you know, one day they go a little bit too low, they tear the fucking pec because they never trained that range of motion. And also, you're getting inferior results when you do the manual partial. You're not getting better chest gains, bro. Do full range of motion, touch your fucking chest, and even pause if you want to go that route. You'll build a bigger chest because the increased range of motion is benefiting you, and it'll be safer. You're not going to get snapped up instead of doing this inconsistent manual half rep bullshit. Now, I know some guys are going to say, well, don't you do partials? Yeah, but they're not manual. I do it off pins or boards. Or if I want to overload certain parts of range of motion, I'll just use bands or chains. Same thing applies to squats, by the way. A lot of these gym bros, they do these quarter reps or half reps, and they're complaining that their knees hurt. Oh, I have bad knees. Yeah, you're 20 years old with bad knees. That makes a lot of fucking sense. Unless you had an injury in the past, nah, bro, no. Using terrible form, full range of motion, doesn't have to be ass to grass, but at least get the parallel or slightly below. So that's the problem that I'm seeing, man. These guys, they're focusing on the TUT, if you will, doing these fucking half reps, just pumping, not doing some aggressive overload, and then they complain that they're hurting, make up all kinds of excuses, and they just don't make the best gains. But full range of motion, and you can still do the TUT. Okay, you can just slow down your tempo a little bit if you want to go that route, or do light touches on the body. The next thing I see is that gym bros are not doing enough barbell work. There's too much emphasis on a variety of different machines and cables. Like, don't get me wrong, some of these movements can be great. Some would say that the rowing machines are on par with barbell rows. Then cables are really great when you want to, maybe do your tricep push down and all that. And there's certain exercises that are very effective. I'm all for it. But it shouldn't constitute the majority of your training. That's what I'm seeing a lot of these dudes. Hell, some guys, they do more flies than fucking bench. Well, maybe instead of doing your pec deck and then your 3 different cable flies, and then your dumbbell flies, well, perhaps you should just do your flat barbell bench press, get stronger at that, or maybe some weighted dips, or maybe some flat bench, some incline dumbbell bench, maybe some weighted dips, some push-ups. Like, why don't you emphasize the essential compound movements? Why don't you get stronger at just heavier work, like big movements? Like, the main thing that I see is they're not doing enough barbell exercises. So get back to the basics. Focus on the big 5, if you will. If you do that, I think you'll get much better results than just using every fucking machine in the gym. Like, why are you doing that? So those are some of the main points about training. Another thing I see is, like, the whole nutrition game. It's fucked. The bro science is unbelievable. Like, they still believe in the post-workout shake, that if you don't have that magic window of opportunity, like, you're fucked, you're going to lose all your results, or you're just not going to maximize, They think you always have to eat 6 meals a day. They're pounding back the fucking protein. They think that all carbs are bad. Yeah, carbs make you fat. Like, a lot of the nonsense that's been debunked in the online fitness world for years now. Actually, I would say it's about 2011. Okay, at least that's when I saw these things being debunked. It's still seen as common. It's like the norm when you go to a commercial gym or whatever. Like, these gym bros are repeating shit that it's like, do you even watch YouTube Fitness? Are you even aware of what's going on? That's why I said in my last video, and even today, like, they're not aware. So a lot of these things about nutrition just don't make sense. And the main thing that I would say is definitely the protein. You only need 0.8 grams of protein per pound of body weight. So you don't have to make protein your entire world. It's not that complicated, guys. So that said, I want to bring you on to the final lesson, which is the fact that a lot of gym bros don't value science. As I said in the past, they really learn among themselves and they value their experience instead. And eventually the science catches up to the bro science, and that's how things started. I get that. But when there's research that literally proves you wrong, you got to be willing to look at it and say, okay, maybe there was a mistake here. Maybe I should change my ways. What I see is a lot of guys who are just not following the science whatsoever. Like, yeah, me, I don't care about the science. Well, anecdote is great and all that, but we got to be willing to look at the science. We have to be objective. So I would invite you guys to do the same, although I'm pretty sure that's how it is over here. I do believe that there's a difference between the gym bro culture and the online fitness world. I think you guys are quite open to the science. So maybe this is less of an obvious lesson to you, but for the gym bros anyway, like, I get it, experience. I'm all for it, man. Like, you've seen all the experiments I've done on this channel. Like, I do it all the time. But I look at the science as well. That's why this channel is about combining everything. It combines my experiences, the experiences of other successful lifters, including those in the comments section, because we're always sharing our feedback together. And then we look at the science. We see what makes the most sense, and then we compile everything into one, and we come up with some rational conclusions. I feel as though there's too much one-dimensional thinking. It's either you're all for science or all for experience. And the way that I see it, combine both into one. That's how you draw the best conclusions. So that's it. Those are the major gym bro lessons, the bad ones. I want to know from you now, what are some mistakes that you see in the gym? What are some concepts that just don't make sense to you? Let's hear it, and I'll see you in the next video.